الله الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيد الأولين والآخرين سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كل نفس ذائقة الموت صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا نور الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending endless salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the jewel of creation, the crown of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the revival of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the one who remembered Allah Almighty the most, and the one who Allah Almighty remembered the most, the awakener of our soul, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most revered one, and undoubtedly the most beautiful one. None other than Sayyidina wa Nabiyuna Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Dear respected elders and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If there is one guarantee in life, then it is the guarantee that we must all taste death. This is the one guarantee which we all have in life. In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stated and mentioned in the Holy Quran that Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Kullu nafsin za'ikatul maut, that every soul shall taste death. So the word kullu nafsin za'ikatul, so the word za'ika or za'ikatul, it comes from the word za'ika, and its actual form root in Arabic is zawq. We can take this meaning in Urdu as well. If I remember correctly, it means the taste as well. So this is the meaning of zawq in Urdu as well. So every soul should taste death. So in the Holy Quran, Allah Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He describes the process of death, and He mentions how death is as well. And we learn from here as well that when a person passes away, when a person leaves this world, when a person dies, and the experience which he tastes for that person has been mentioned in the Holy Quran by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is death in reality? Death in reality is when is the separation of the body from the soul. It's mufarraqatu bayn al-ruhi wal jasad. This is the name which has been given to death by the scholars, that death is the separation of the body from the soul. So when the soul leaves this body, this is the actual definition of death. And when the soul leaves this body in the Western world, where we live here in the UK, or in Europe, or in America, etc., these places of the world, that in the Western world, the understanding of death and the perception of death of most which these people have is that once a person dies is the end. This is the belief of the people in the Western world, that when a person, he leaves this world, and when he dies, that is the end of his life. But for us, according to the Holy Quran, according to the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from what we have been taught as well, that no doubt it is the Quran that we believe, and it is the Quran which we believe. The Quran which was revealed upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 40 years of age, it was at that time when the first revelation came to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was in the cave of Hira, Gare Hira. Whilst our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was present there, the first ayats of the Holy Quran were revealed upon our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told to read in the name of his Lord. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq. So this is the first ayat which was revealed upon our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Holy Quran, it was revealed in approximately from the age of 40 till the time when Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. Approximately 22, 23 years in the blessed life of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Holy Quran was brought by Jibreel himself to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and where they would recite the Quran to one another, and where our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given the revelation by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Holy Quran itself is Kalamullah, it is the words of Almighty Allah. It has not been created, rather it is an attribute, it is a sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what the Holy Quran is. And the Holy Quran, when it was revealed to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in various ahadith that when he was first being revealed to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was like a bell which could be heard when it was revealed to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And some of the Sahaba, some of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which were present there, and when they would see the Holy Quran, or when they would see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sweating as well whilst he was sitting, and that's when they would realize that the Holy Quran was being revealed upon our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. In many narrations we have that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mounted on a horse, and when the Quran was revealed that the horse would sit down. This was the power, this was the qudrat of the Holy Quran as well. So this is a bit about the Holy Quran. And the Holy Quran, it tells us that kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut, that every soul should taste death. And that when a person, when he leaves this dunya, when he leaves this world, but his ruh, his soul is still alive. Allah Almighty allows a person's soul to live. Is made to live at a place called Barzakh as well. And this place of Barzakh is covered, is hidden from our eyes. But this is where all the souls, they gather until the day of Qiyamah, until when the horn is blown. And that is when everything will perish, and then the horn will be blown again, and everything will rise again. So this is what death is, and the process, and that is why the process of leaving this world to enter the next world, for this to take place, Almighty Allah has created death. So for us to leave this world and to go to the next life, to go to the hereafter, Almighty Allah has created death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created death for this, and when death was created, it was created for this purpose, mainly, that when one will remember or be reminded, that one will remember or be reminded of death, it will detach him from this dunya. That we spend a lot of time in this dunya being attached to it, but when we see someone, we see family members, close friends, or we see other people who we know when they pass away and they leave this dunya, it gives us time to remember death. It gives us time to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. And we talk about those people who truly remember death, those people who do zikrul maut, they remember death continuously, like a way that they are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they are always there. And you will see that they are always not attached to this dunya at all, they are not attached to this world at all, rather they are there continuously remembering death. And if you look at their lives, and if you see that in their lives they do not have the attachment to the dunya, because they realize, or they have come to the realization that they have gained this ma'rifah, that they have gained this realization that this dunya, this world is temporary, and nothing is permanent inside this dunya, and nothing, it won't last forever. However you can have, everything will perish, everything will be destroyed, everything has a beginning, and everything has a end as well. That you can have money, you can have properties, you can have children as well, but they will all go as well. So these people, they have come to the realization, and they are not that attached to these, to any of this, because property, money, cars, children, they will come and go. So it is better that we do not attach ourselves to things which are not everlasting, and we should attach ourselves to things which are everlasting, and to things which matter as well. So we all need to realize that there will be a time when we have to pass away, when we have to leave this world, and this is the one guarantee which we have, that we must face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. And Almighty Allah has stated in the Holy Quran that Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhal insanu ma gharaka bi rabbikal kareem. That, oh man, what has distracted you and what has deceived you from your generous Lord? What has made you forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why have you forgotten Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has created you, who has made you beautiful, yet you have forgotten Him? So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, that death is a reminder for us to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has many of its benefits as well. As previously mentioned, that Almighty Allah states in the Holy Quran that فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ, that remember me and I will remember you. So this is the blessings of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are many ways of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a regular, on a daily basis, and not only on a daily basis, but every moment of your life. You stand up, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You sit down, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're walking, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're working, you are doing, you are out on a job, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're driving a car, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has many benefits, and as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that when He remembers us, He will remember us in a gathering far better than the gathering, or far better than the place which we have remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the main ways of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to remember death as well. Because remembering death, it brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It teaches us that our life goal and our main mission in this life is that when we pass away, there's only one thing which we want to do, is that when we go to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we go with our good deeds and not with the sins which we have accumulated in this world as well. So we should try always be good as well. And this is what death does. It reminds us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when someone passes away, what do? Is that we go to the family of the person who has passed away, who is deceased, and we go to the family and we pay our respect to the family. We feel sad, especially if they are close to us. We will feel that they are no longer amongst us. And then after this, we will wash their bodies, we will do the ghusl, and then we will shroud them as well in the coffin, and then we will carry them as well. And when we carry them as well, the grave is always ready for us, that even though we do not remember the grave is always remembering us. That when we walk past, or when we go to the cemetery as well in Leicester, when we're walking past, we don't know if this is a place we're going to pass away, but we should always remember that this may be the place where we pass away, this may be the place where we are buried, and this place of the grave is a home longer than the one which we have here as well. So some people, they will pass away at the age of 20, some people at the age of 50, some people at the age of 100 as well. But even those people that pass away at the age of 100, the grave which they will have, it will be far longer than the life that they have lived here as well. That even the 100 years which they have lived here, the place which they will have in the hereafter, or the place which they will have in the grave, is a home which is longer than the one which is here as well. And when we talk about the grave as well, what do we learn is that we all know this, that we will always be asked three questions when we are in the grave. That who is your Lord? Man Rabbuka? What is your religion? Ma dinuka? And what did you say about this man? And when this question is asked, that ma kuntu taqulu fi haqqi hadha ar-rajul, that what did you say in the rights of this man? The blessed face of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be brought forward as well. And what we learned by Imam Bukhari radiallahu ta'ala anhu in his famous book of hadith, Sahih Bukhari Sharif, that he mentions that the main question which will be asked is this last question, which is ma kuntu taqulu fi haqqi hadha ar-rajul, that what did you say in the rights of this man? What did you used to say about Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your lifetime as well? And we, the believers as well, that we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that when we are asked this question in the grave, that we are able to answer it correctly as well, and that we are able to say that this is huwa Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the three questions which will be asked in the grave. And after this third question is asked, what will happen is, if you're a believer, if you are the one who believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are the one who believed in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, once you are asked this question and once you are successful, what the angels will do is that your grave, even though it is only a certain limit which we see ourselves from our own eyes, the grave, it will be expanded till wherever your eyes can see the garden. There will be a window of there will be a window which will be put, and this window, it will have it will be like Jannah, where Jannatul Firdaus is as well. So you will have the garden and the air from Jannah coming into the grave as well. And this is the bounties of those people who were successful in this world, who did good in this world, and who made sure that they were always thinking about this, about the hereafter. And what we tend to do is we tend to worry more about this dunya than the akhirah, than the hereafter as well. We walk in this dunya, we walk in this world as if we are to live here forever. We work as well in this world, we work as well in this dunya as if we were to live here forever as well. And then how much time have we invested for the hereafter, for the next world, which is forever as well. And if you look at it, we have approximately 24 hours in a day. And from these 24 hours in a day, we spend approximately 8 hours sleeping on a daily basis as well. And if you take away 24 from 8, we have approximately 16 hours still remaining. And from those 16 hours which we still have remaining, if you're working a 9 to 5 job, that will be another 8 hours which go, and you will only have 8 hours left. And from these 8 hours, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only asks for 1 hour. If you include all the namazes together, Fajr, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib and Isha, if you include all of this, it equals to 1 hour. So out of the whole day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only asks for 1 hour of our time, and even then we are reluctant to give this time. Even then we are reluctant to pray our namaz. And you will be surprised at how much we use the technology instead, the smartphones as well. A majority of the time we can see on our smartphones how long or how many hours we use them during the day. And approximately many people, they are on the smartphones they're on the smartphones for majority of the time during the day. You can be spending 6-7 hours on the smartphones, looking at emails, looking at messaging people, phoning people as well. And this smartphone, it has been made by man as well. Almighty Allah gave them akal to create this smartphone and for us to use it as well. So we spend many hours during our days on the smartphone as well. And when it comes to the time of prayer, when it comes to the time of attending the masajids for various programs or for various khatams, we will always make the one same excuse, is that we have no time. We will always bring up this excuse, and it is the most used excuse ever as well, that whenever anyone asks you that, oh, look, there is a program at the masjid today, will you be coming, will you be attending, you will start to make yourself look busy, and you will give that same excuse that you have no time to attend this program, you're busy, you have other things to do as well. So we are always making excuses to take ourselves away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Death is one of the main ways to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another one of the main ways of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is istighfar as well. Istighfar, seeking for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. And it reminds me of a famous story, and this story is regarding a student of Imam Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi. So Imam Shafi, his student, he lived in Baghdad Sharif, and he lived in Baghdad Sharif, but he was born in a place called Marwaz. So, and the student of his is none other than Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu as well. So Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu is also one of the Imams of the Mazhab as well, as is Imam Shafi as well, and they were teacher-student. This was the relationship between them. And this is a famous story in regards to Sayyidina Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, which we can learn a lot from as well, in regards to seeking for forgiveness as well. And a bit about Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, that he was the Mujaddid of Al-Qarn al-Sani as well. So what is a Mujaddid? A Mujaddid is the one who revives the faith, or the one who talks out against the fitna, which is at the time as well. And the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in the hadith that a Mujaddid, a person who revives the religion, he comes at the end of every 100 years, or at the end of every century. This is when a Mujaddid will appear, and it will come at a time when the religion is, when there's many people causing new things in the religion, and they will come and they will speak, and they will show the correct path, and they will fight for what is right as well in the time as well. So Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was the Mujaddid of the 2nd century. The Mujaddid of the 1st century was Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh. He was the Mujaddid of the 1st century, and the Mujaddid of the 2nd century was Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was unanimously agreed. He went through many things at the time, and one of the things at the time what the government was saying is that the Quran is created. So like I mentioned previously, that the Quran is not a creation, rather it is the Kalam Allah, it is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is one of the attributes, the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is one of the things which he told the people that this is not correct, rather this is what the Holy Quran is, and the Kalam is the attribute and is the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, when he fought against this, and when he was telling the people the correct things, what happened to him was that he was imprisoned, he was punished, he was lashed more than 100 times, he was tortured, he was abused by the government of the time, he was disrespected as well, but yet he remained staunch and he spoke out against the fitna of this time as well. And then Almighty Allah, he honored him for doing this. Almighty Allah honored him with a lot of respect, with a lot of izzat as well, to such a case that he was known worldwide as well, except for from a few remote places as well. So this was what happened to Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, that everywhere he went, people heard about him or people knew who he was, other than a few places, which was a remote place as well. So this is what Almighty Allah honored him with. So on one occasion, Sayyidina Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was very old at this time, and he was traveling, he was on his way, and it was night time at that time, so he decided to stop over at a place which he had found. And when he decided to stop over at this place, he decided to stop at the masjid where he would be able to rest, where he would be able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone as well. So when he went inside the masjid, and we say it even in this day and age that when the caretaker is there, and when it is night time, he wants to close the masjid up, he wants people to leave so he can go home himself as well. So as soon as the caretaker saw Sayyidina Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu enter the masjid, enter the mosque, he started doing the same thing as well. He told him, Sayyidina Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that leave the mosque, I want to close up as well. Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he sat down in one corner, and when the caretaker saw him sitting in that corner, he took him out, and he took him out of the masjid as well. So when he was taken out from the masjid, he then decided to stay in the vicinity or around the masjid as well. So again, the caretaker, he removed him from that place. And whilst all of this was being done, there was a bakery which was opposite the mosque, and the baker who was present there, he was still awake. He was still getting ready for Fajr time, so he could sell whatever he was making at that time after Fajr namaz as well. So this is what this baker was doing at that time. And when he saw what was happening to Sayyidina Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he decided to take him in. He decided to let him stay with him for the night as well. So this is what Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu did, that he stayed with the baker for the night as well. So Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he was with the baker during the night, he says himself that he did not sleep at all during the night. And when asked, and as soon as morning came, he went towards the baker and he asked him that what is it that you read, what is your word, what is your litany that you are praying continuously, that you are making the bread, you are making, you're walking, you're going up, you're going down, you're sitting, you're doing various jobs. All I could hear is one thing which you're keeping reciting. What is this litany, what is this word, what is this wazaif which you are keep on praying? And then the baker told him that the one thing which I am reciting continuously is istighfar. I'm seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm saying astaghfirullah rabbi min kulli zambi wa atubu ilayh. This is why I'm keep on reciting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he asked this man that what have you received by reciting this litany, by reciting this word at all times? He says that whatever dua I have ever made, Almighty Allah has always accepted this dua just by reciting this litany, this word. And he said that all the duas I have made except for one, and this one dua I have made, it has not been accepted yet by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu asked him that what is this dua which you have been making, which has not been accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yet? So then this baker, he went on to tell Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu that I heard about this man who fought for the right of Islam, who fought for the right of the Holy Quran, and who spoke out against this fitna. His name is Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. and I'm longing to see him. I really want to meet this individual as well. But the baker was telling him, and as soon as Sayyidina Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal radiallahu ta'ala anhu heard this, he smiled at him and he said that all of this, me being taken out the mosque and then being put in front of your shop and then being taken care of you from the night, was a way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show your acceptance of the istighfar which you have been doing, for the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you're doing. So this is why we should spend our time wisely in remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's many ways to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of them is by remembering death. The other way is by doing istighfar as well. So these are two good ways which we can remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One thing which we should always keep in mind is that death is around the corner and we can pass away, we can die at any time as well. And one of the things which our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked by the companions that Manil Akhyash Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the intelligent one, who is someone that is really intelligent? And our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told his companion that the intelligent one isn't he who holds dirhams and dinars, isn't he who holds the dollars and dimes or the pounds. Intelligent one is he who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The intelligent one is he who remembers death often as well and prepares for his death as well. But preparing for death is one of the things which we receive, or is one of the things which is guaranteed in life, and is one of the things which we must always be prepared for as well. And there's many ways to prepare for this death as well. One of them is by praying the salah on time. Another one is by doing good, doing charity at all times, and by remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is one of the ways which we should prepare ourselves in this life as well. We should pray now, we should do our fast now, we should do good now, and this is what will benefit us in the akhirah as well. And this is not only a reminder for yourself, but it's a reminder for me as well, that we will hear this and then 1 hour later it will leave our mind and we'll go back to our daily routine as well. We won't remember anything which has been said. If we can take our time during the day just to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to remember what death is as well, that one day it will come to us, and this is the way we should always see life, and this is the way we should move forward as well. So may Almighty Allah makes us amongst those people. May Almighty Allah grant us husn al-khatimah. May Almighty Allah grant us a place in Jannatul Firdaus. When we pass away on a Friday, and we pass away in Madinatul Munawwara as well. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.